Hey everyone, here we are for joy workout number 57. Woo woo! And oh my gosh, I'm having like a flood of insights from a lot of different directions today. So um, bear with me, I'll try to go slow. The freedom to feel. So yesterday I mentioned a really wonderful interview with Brene Brown and Angus Fletcher. Wow. I went to actually download his book, Wonder Works, and found that I like the interview better than the book. I like his voice. I like his excitement and enthusiasm. And at one point in the interview, he alludes to CPTSD, which is the reason that I wrote Sanctuary. Oh my God, this is so juicy. And he says, in all the Greek dramas, in some of them, they were addressing PTSD. They were addressing that flood of flashbacks and emotions that people get when they have PTSD. And he said it's like there's a break that is not there, like the break between like your memories and your current present state. It's like the break isn't there, and all of a sudden they get these like visual and emotional floods. Well, then he said, and then, there's two kinds of PTSD, but he never said the word complex PTSD. I'm telling you, nobody wants to talk about this. It's like because that would take another 2 hours to do that in the interview. That is the brilliance of Sanctuary. It is a gateway. It is a life changer. He said, this was such a great description. He said, the other kind of PTSD is where the break in between the memories and the present state of being, these are my words, is too thick. It's like the person had chronic abuse. It wasn't just a memory of somebody, best friend, being exploded by a bomb in a war, like a chronic state of abuse, whether it's emotional or physical, or it's a chronic thing. What happens is you start building up defenses to feelings themselves. And that creates a state of numbness. And maybe you become too intellectual, or maybe you go hiding in addictions, or maybe you go watch too many movies and read too many books in order to escape. The theme in common is numbness. Well, what do you become numb to? You become numb to all kinds of feelings, including joy. Well, imagine this. If somebody has like active PTSD, so they get like extreme anxiety because this horrible thing happened and they're remembering it again, you can take a drug to numb that out. You can take a drug to calm that down. I understand that. But what kind of drug can you take? I.e., I don't think there is one. Well, maybe there are now some psychedelics they're playing with, not now, for thousands of years, that awaken, stimulate certain centers. I'm starting to understand. I never did that. Anyway, I told you I'm a little overwhelmed right now with a lot of insight happening all at once. To awaken joy, I don't think a drug can do that. I think that, when I see people getting along and laughing together, and I'm like in the same room, and there's like a feeling of like excitement and wonder happening there, that joy is contagious. I am receptive to it because I have my antenna up for moments like that, to just take them in. They're like food for me. I love that. So what I'm saying is that this form of PTSD, which is complex PTSD, which we've used the word like dissociation, he used the word numbness. In my family background, I could see a lot of numbness. There were people who died. Nobody ever mentions their names, ever, ever, ever. That's numbness. Leaning into the intellect, leaning into success, heart, being very rigid about that. There's numbness in that. Well, then, as I was experiencing these insights, And remember, what we're looking here is we're looking for freedom to experience the whole thing. A lot of people that I know within joy-based living are women who are extremely strong. And one of the things that Angus Fletcher was talking about was the numbing out of fear. That if you've had chronic abuse of some kind, like domestic, and it's over time, chronic is over time, you might shut off feelings of fear and just be like, just plunge forward. I can relate to that. I've got like New York City. I know how to walk New York City during like the 70s and 80s. Like, I know that walk. I know that shutting down of fear. And within our circles, if you say to somebody, just talk about fear, they're like, I'm not afraid. And they really mean it. And I've really meant it. But how much of that meaning it is due to numbness? I wonder about that. Well, then I was led to a reminder of this beautiful letter that somebody sent me. Claudia sent this to me in 2016. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but it was at the very beginning. It was in November of 2016, November 15th, 2016 at 10:54 p.m., probably California time. And she said, it was so nice to chat today. And while you were talking, I had this aha moment. She said, you were talking about how your intention is to find the radiance in every moment instead of solving problems. And you went on to elaborate more about it. And she said, I had this aha moment. She said, since you first mentioned the term joy-based living, I had felt a strangeness to the term deep inside. It made me think about the purpose of my life. It always seemed more about having to do something, be it to learn lessons or be a good person, be useful to society or get enlightened, etc. It seemed somewhat frivolous, luxurious, or what is the word, to me, to base my life on the notion of joy. Where would we end up when everybody just did what gives them joy? Who would do the stuff that isn't so much fun? I know this is a false belief stemming from my childhood and other experiences along those lines. Even studying Eastern philosophy, I am told bliss is our true nature, yet I have not been able to fully understand or experience what that really means or feels like. It seemed more like an elusive bliss kind of trance, like spaced out state that I can only access during meditation. But to call it joy seemed almost blasphemy. Part of the reason for taking joy-based living with you was to dig deeper into this false belief, as I can see how it undermines my enjoying, she put in quotes, enjoying being here on earth, making my life feel rather like a task. So today, when you were telling someone how you made it your intention to experience radiance in all situations, a light bulb went on in my head. Wow, this is what you meant with joy. My deepest desire for enlightenment is nothing more than the urge to go back to the radiance that I already was when I was born, but then covered up with all the fear and crap to not freak out my parents too much or blend in with their idea of what I should be like. And now I'm still stuck with ideas about how things should be rather than observing what is. Radiance was also a lesson that I felt estranged with because I was translating it to mean charisma or charm or being sexy. But looking at the dictionary now, I see it means emitting light. Now, this might seem to you rather obvious, yet it didn't occur to me until you just said it today. And how we're all just caught up in wanting, and distracted by all the things that we aren't and all the things we haven't, instead of being just light. Put that way, I can now totally embrace joy and see it differently as pure energy emitting from us. And she said, the workout, and she said this in 2016. She said, The workout is to remember our own radiance and not beat ourselves up for it when we don't see it. It's like meditation in action. Lots to reflect on, or just to let it be. And as you said, make it my intention to become more aware of its existence. Thank you again for your wisdom and letting the light shine, being a wonderful inspiration for us, and many more to come. So I think without intending that all these connections would happen, not knowing that we were going to enter this realm of understanding CPTSD and all that, I think it's so much easier to catch someone when they're having like a visual flashback than it is to catch someone when they're experiencing numbness, because numbness can look on the outside like well-behaved child because they're being quiet, or they're doing as they're told, or whatever, or they've conceded and they're going along rather than being true. So I'm really proud of us. I'm proud of our exploration of joy. I think the more that we explore it, the more we put our attention on it, the more we're going to awaken it in ourselves, and it's going to have a ripple effect. It is having a ripple effect. For those of you who know Claudia, you can like give her a little nudge if you want to and say, hey, Claudia, tell me where you are now with radiance and joy versus where you were a few years ago. Debbie read your letter on joy workout number 57. So thank you for holding space for me, for this conversation to happen, for these workouts to happen. These workouts are more like conversations. The reason they're extemporaneous is because they're kind of like, if we were having dinner together, we would just have these conversations about the new awarenesses that we're having or the new joys that we're experiencing. And so I love hearing from each of you. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. Thank you for growing together with me. And I will see you tomorrow for another joy workout. Bye for now.